forget all you know about podcasts. We welcome you to an experience uniquely different. Please join us for our coverage of all entertainment on the fringe of society. The candles are lit, the lights are down low. It is now time to welcome our host as he steps up to the pulpit. The sacrifice has been prepared for the midnight black mass.
Ghastly greetings, groovy ghoulies, and welcome to Volume 6, Episode 7 of the Midnight Black Mass. It is I, your host, the maniacal minister, the occult, the devil you know, the Reverend Dan Wilson, here alongside my partner in crime and partner in metal as of this past weekend, one-man hair band, Andrew Alexander. How's it going, man?
I haven't heard that name in forever.
You lived up to it for at least a weekend this past weekend, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Otherwise, how are you doing?
Man, doing good, man. Good. Just waiting for this. I know this will be airing a little bit later. Just waiting for the 4th of July weekend.
Yes, the 4th of July weekend coming upon us as we record this, and as this airs, Empire Wrestling's Crazy from the Heat 2015 will have happened. So we're very excited to find out what the happenings were. We don't know as of right now, but we certainly will report on that in full next week.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I can't wait. All the matches announced. Got some working on the video projects, overseeing that, making sure everything's good to go. I think it's going to be an awesome show, man. I think we pretty much always deliver.
A lot of buzz going around about Empire Wrestling right now. A lot of coverage from the Scenic City Invitational Tournament that's coming in August, and looks like there's some big interviews on the horizon for you and myself as well, talking about Empire, so looking forward to that. But let's talk about this weekend. This past Sunday, we attended one of many concerts we've attended together, but the first that will actually be reviewed by us here on the Midnight Black Mass. Now, in the past, when I've attended shows, I've certainly talked about them and given an unofficial review per se, but this is going to be a regular thing. We go to a lot of concerts, often together, often separate, but I think it's a good opportunity to give a rundown of that experience because that live music is such an important part of our lives. And this weekend, we had the pleasure of taking in a headlining show by Def Leppard, with supporting acts Styx, legendary act in and of themselves, as well as another legendary act, and really who I was there to see, in my opinion, Tesla. And what an amazing night it was. Tell us about it, Andrew.
Oh, absolutely, man. You can't go wrong. We got an awesome deal for some lawn seats for that concert. We could have paid 3 times that, and it's still been worth it. But we got that amazing deal that always gets the concert off to a good start when you save some money. But, man, all 3 bands were on point. All 3 bands sounded great. We went to see them at Lakewood in Atlanta, Hi-Fi Buys as it's called now. And, I've probably been there 30 times over the past decade, if not more. Great place to see shows.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've been there a whole lot. Always a good place to see shows, always a good experience. Never had any issues there. You got to fight a little traffic sometime. We actually got lucky. We fought like no traffic leaving. That's the first time for me.
Well, until we hit 75 and ran into that god-awful fucking traffic jam. Of course, we beat the concert traffic out, and there's like a wreck on 75, and we sit in traffic for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to get you one way or another, but we beat the traffic out of the concert, so at least we had that going. And man, just a great show all around. I think kind of as far as the best sounding might go to Tesla, which they are amazing live. I've seen them back in 2002. Haven't seen them since then, so I was excited. 13-year gap, and they just still sounded so great. Sounds just like the records. Only had an 8-song set, but it was 8 badass songs. What did you think about them? Is that the first time you've seen them live?
Yes, it was, and one of my all-time favorite bands, actually. I talked a little bit about this last week, where we talked about how the first two Tesla albums were, just among the great rock albums of all time. But, it was the first time I'd ever gotten to see them live, and a band I'd wanted to see live for many years. I always thought they kind of got the short end of the stick, which, like you and I love hair metal, but to a lot of bands that was a bad thing. It was a derogatory term, and a lot of people tried to write them off as just like a bubblegum act, and they really were this just kick-ass California rock and roll band. And I'm so happy to see that they're still going so strongly after all these years. The only person in the band who was not an original member was the bass player. So that's pretty fucking awesome all these 30-plus years later.
Yeah, usually a lot of the older bands like that, you may have 1, 2, maybe 3 original members. So the more you get, it's always better, But they just didn't miss a beat. They sounded great. Would love to see them again anytime. My first time seeing Styx, they sounded great. Tommy Shaw had laryngitis, so I think they kind of switched the set list up a little bit, trying to avoid him singing as much as possible. Very solid. No complaints. Definitely sounded great. The new singer sounds just like the former singer. He even kind of looked like him from afar. I was like, wait, what's going on here? But they probably had they played a little over an hour, I'd say. Awesome set. Did a couple covers, did some Beatles covers, did a little medley with some Bohemian Rhapsody, which you can't go wrong with. They sounded great as well.
Yeah, and it's not like Tommy Shaw was up there sucking it up. There was a couple songs you could tell he sounded a little rough due to the laryngitis, but I think the whole object of switching the set around was to keep him strong for the big songs that people were expecting him to sing, like Blue Collar Man and Renegade, and some of the others. What a fucking great set! 10 songs, pretty much every Styx song that you wanted to hear. They played all the really hard rocking ones, which I like. I would like to hear Crystal Ball or maybe some of the others. They played Miss America, played Renegade, they played fucking Blue Collar Man. Just like I said, it was a great set all around. And they sounded fantastic. And, that's a band that's evolved over time. Dennis DeYoung's no longer with the band. I can't recall the replacement singer's name, but, man, like you said, he did a great job. Of course, their original drummer passed away in the early 2000s. But, still, besides Dennis DeYoung and the drummer who's no longer there, it's still the Styx lineup that everyone is familiar with. And then moving on, you talk about Def Leppard. They have, not their original lineup because they lost Steve Clark due to death in the 80s. Things have happened there. But the classic Def Leppard lineup, Vivian Campbell, Phil Collins, Joe Elliott, Rick Allen on drums. They were fucking rocking and rolling.
And Rick Savage, yeah.
Yes, that was what I was forgetting.
Yeah, I think, I saw them last year for the first time, and I think it was pretty much the same set list, but I was very happy with the set list. Couple deep cuts, and then of course all the singles that everybody wants to hear, which is cool. Kind of the same presentation and setup and stage and video stuff. Didn't really change that up too much. Joe Elliott, I think he sounded off just on a couple songs. It was really weird. I think maybe some of the ones that he had to sing in a higher pitch. He didn't sound.
I thought it was like the earlier songs that they sang that he sounded a little rough in the early songs, but once they got going, I thought he sounded better.
Yeah, definitely. I was happy with it. I think they might have sounded a little better last year, but nothing. No complaints. That's just if you're being nitpicky. And man, I'm always amazed by their drummers. It's just insane. Just when you see him on the video screen and he's just tearing it up on these solos with one arm. That's crazy. Phil Collins, playing with his shirt off. He's got to be in his 50s, if not pushing 60. And Jesus, that guy looks amazing. He's jacked up like Jesus. He's got abs and everything going on. I was like, what the hell?
I know that motherfucker gets more ripped every year. He looks younger as he ages.
Yeah, definitely. The rock star life, I guess, if you pull it off right, you're you can age pretty. You know, you look at Mick Jagger, look at the Stones; they're still going strong. But yeah, he looked crazy. He just looked all ripped up. All around, man, it was just an awesome show. I mean, I kind of figured it would be, but definitely wasn't disappointed.
No, and with Def Leppard, the one thing that we got over the last time we saw them last year when they were supporting, I believe it was a Kiss that we saw them with.
Yeah, I think so.
And so yeah, when they were supporting Kiss, they played a little bit longer set list, so you did get like the cover of David Essex "Rock On," which was pretty fucking cool. I thought. That's something I didn't expect. I didn't even know they had covered that, but I later found out that was actually on one of their later albums. So, yeah, that was really cool. And then, you know, like you said, you got a couple of other deep cuts, some of the heavier stuff they busted out, so that was nice.
Yeah, played some stuff off the second album, High and Dry, which is my favorite. Played that instrumental on the name's escaping me, which sucks, but the instrumental off that album.
Yeah, oh, dude, I know it.
Let It Go. I mean,
so
yeah, that album's just so awesome, and they played, you know, probably a good 3, maybe 4 songs off there. Of course, Bringing on the Heartbreak, maybe my favorite Def Leppard song all around. But yeah, it was awesome to see them headline. It was a pretty much a shared thing with them and Kiss. Probably didn't play too much longer with them headlining than it did with Kiss, but awesome show. I think the next show I'm going to is in August. Going to see that Motley Crue second leg of the farewell tour with Alice Cooper.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. I may try to get in on that. We'll see what my schedule and shit is like, but I'd like to see Crue on the farewell tour. I've seen them twice, and they were great both. Vince Neil's, you know, vocally live, he does what he can. He protects his weaknesses. He don't do a lot, but the band more than makes up for it, and it's just a great live show. And fucking Alice Cooper is like one of my all-time, like, you know, as far as a performer, just all-time fucking iconic heroes. And I got to see him just the once live opening for Iron Maiden, and he was so fucking good. And at his age, he's just still fucking killing it. He looks great. He sounds great. His show is magnificent. His band is fucking top notch. It's totally worth going to see that show for fucking sure.
Yeah, he was awesome. I saw the first leg of the Crue farewell tour, and he was on it as well. Same show as he did with Maiden, but he sounded great. And man, Vince really brought it that night. I saw, you know, the first song he sounded great, and you could tell his voice got a little tired on him in the second and third songs. I mean, he was giving it his all, because I've seen that might have been the sixth time I've seen the Crue, I believe. Going back to when I was 16, second concert I ever went to on the New Tattoo tour with Megadeth in Chattanooga, and you know, there's times he phones it in. I mean, you know, for sure. And there's times I'm like, man, this guy's not even trying. But on that farewell tour, he really brought it. And I'm telling you, man, I really think they did more pyro and more stage theatrics and stuff than Kiss does. And that's saying something, because Kiss does a ton. But they go all out for that farewell tour. And when I saw this coming back around, I said, hell, I got to see it again.
Got to see it till it's gone, right?
That's right.
Yeah, my next confirmed concert, July 17th in Chattanooga. I'm going to go switch it up and go to the country western side of things a little bit and see former guest of the program here and voice actor on Squidbillies, just a fucking all-around brilliant musician, hilarious, dark, poignant, very talented guitarist. Unknown Henson is going to be in Chattanooga with the cousin of Johnny Knoxville, a local legend here in Chattanooga, and a guy who's finally started making some national prominence with some hilarious fucking songs like Loving You Is Like Frying Bacon Naked and She's Gone Back to Whoring. Mr. Roger Allen Wade, and it'll be the first time I've ever seen him, even though he plays here like every fucking week, but I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So moving along, we're wrapping up the first ever Midnight Black Mass official concert review. We got to give Styx, fucking Tesla, and motherfucking Def Leppard 5 fucking stars for a great time on the Midnight Black Mass concert review. So moving along to the Wrestle News. going to touch base on some wrestling items just real quick here. The first one is a lot of craziness coming out of TNA, TN Cray, if you will. Fucking, like, it looks like a lot of guys are getting the axe from there. So they sure look like a company that might be about to go out of business, but then they're like signing guys to contract extensions too. So I don't know. What the fuck do you make of it?
Man, I mean, they've been hanging on, it seems, life support for a while now. And then I know we discussed it on the way to the concert, and I kind of assumed the answer. But to our knowledge, these guys have been in business 13 years and have not turned a profit once. I mean, they have not made $1. That's what it seems like. And
yes,
we
don't have access to the books.
Yeah, it just, you think about, you have a rough idea of what something costs as far as TV and production and guys' contracts, and you hear about them being in debt and all of these things. I mean, that stuff has to have some merit to it. So, man, it's crazy. I don't know if maybe somebody's going to buy them out. They went to this network that no one's ever heard of, and I don't even get the network. And they had problems with it instantaneously, and the network wants to cut them. And I mean, that's crazy when you're on a network that no one's ever heard of and they don't even want you. Like, that's insane to think about. Like, it seems like that network would give, like, we should have a show on that network. The Midnight Black Mass should be on Destination America, 2:00 in the morning or something.
I mean, I want that. I want to
programming.
With scantily clad coffin girls, and like, yeah, that Destination America.
Yeah, I mean, TNA, they're struggling, man. I read the results, and half the time I'm like, who are they talking? Who is this guy? Who's this person? And who is this girl? And then somebody just shows up, and I'm like, what? This guy, Matt Morgan's back? They signed another Fed guy, and where's, Abyss, or where's, sometimes they're on there, and sometimes they're not, and just people disappear, and, man, it just seems crazy. I can't imagine what it's like to work there.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's a pretty stressful time for those guys, and maybe that's why a lot of them are leaving. I don't know. I mean, you see guys like James Storm and Bobby Roode, and, like, the guys they pretty much built the fucking company on all seem to be jumping off. And then Jeff Jarrett shows up like, after a bitter falling out with the company. So, like, crazy things afoot in the wrestling world, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, I think James Storm is leaving. Austin Aries left. James Storm's been there pretty much since day one. Austin Aries has been there for years. Counting, they just released Gunner, Samuel Shaw. There's others just escaping my memory right off, but just a lot of guys.
And Bobby Roode.
Yeah, I heard of. Is Bobby Roode leaving too?
Yes.
Oh wow. Yeah, I heard about Magnus. See, Bobby Roode, those are big shots. Those aren't some random guys that have been there for 6 months. Those are like the core of their locker room, basically, especially as far as homegrown talent. So, I mean, and it's going to be really interesting to see who shows up maybe on WWE television or NXT, because I think most of the people we just named have something to offer, and I know the WWE has a ton of guys, but not only the knowledge, but those guys have something. Bobby Roode has something. James Storm has something. That Magnus has a great upside just because he's so young and he looks like $1 million. I don't know if that's guys that you want to just see fall to the wayside. If you can get them, at least give them a shot and see what they can do. If anything, they could help. With some of the NXT talent, similar to a way that, Samoa Joe's doing by coming in. And I would assume a couple of them live in Florida. That's TNA's kind of based out of Orlando, which is where NXT is. So it'd be a nice transition. If anything, the travel would be easy. They're probably used to it. So definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. I definitely don't want TNA to go out of business, whether I watch the show, whether I think the show's good or not. I want, guys to have a place to work and there to be an alternative. And, they've produced tons of bad television and bad moments in wrestling, but they've also produced some good stuff and some good matches over the past 13 years.
Yeah, absolutely. They've had times where they had momentum. It just seemed like they were never able to capitalize on it, or that the creative couldn't seem to get in line with where the in-ring needed to be, or vice versa. So, wish them luck. Hope everything goes well for them, but it is definitely a bizarre time in the world of wrestling. The other thing I wanted to touch on in the wrestling news, just a picture that was circulating on social media, just to show you how brutal this particular surgery and just the sport in general can be if it results in things like this. Tyson Kidd from WWE just had that famous neck surgery that has put many a star on the shelf permanently, or shortened many careers at the minimum. And he showed that fucking nasty wound on the back of his neck to just show exactly how deep they had to go and how much work he had to have done. And a lot of people are questioning whether he should even bother coming back to the ring. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I saw that picture. It was definitely very, pretty gruesome sight. I think he should definitely come back. I think he will. He's been in the business forever, practically a member of the Hart family. It's such a shame too, because he's been, floundering and waiting for that opportunity and that push for so long, and he had a nice little thing going with the tag team with Cesaro, who's another guy who kind of been in the same boat as Tyson Kidd, not near as long, but kind of the same situation. And those two guys are just so talented, and they had a great thing going with the team. Finally trying to wear some matching gear. I was hoping they'd finally come up with a tag team name for them or something, because you're just more of a real team if you've got the name, if you've got the gear and stuff like that, instead of just two guys teaming.
A commitment from the office. It shows an investment that they want to make in you by giving you a name. I mean, that means that's something else they're going to try to market.
Yeah, definitely. So I hope he comes back. He's so good. He can do all of the things. Like he can work that indie style and has a lot of unique moves and transitions to the moves and high spots, and he can do all that stuff. But he works a great pace for the WWE. He's unique. He's very different. I think he the only downfall he kind of has is kind of being short, which is an uphill battle. And I'm not saying he would make it as a top guy, as a world champion. If ever given the chance, he may, but I don't really see that happening. But it would be great if he did, because he's just a hell of a worker, very talented.
Yeah, great hand, very reminiscent of Dynamite Kid. I always like watching him work. You can tell he's a guy that's just lived wrestling his whole life. And those guys always, to me, stand out from the pack of the guys that didn't.
Oh, yeah, you can always tell the difference. I mean, some guys get it quicker, and sometimes they're around long enough to where, they kind of start to fit in and kind of have a little bit of that approach, or they get the passion for the business. But, yeah, when you grow up with it and it's just in your blood and it's all you focus on, you can definitely tell, and he's one of those guys. So I sure hope he comes back. I mean, he had several years left, and a lot left to give.
Yeah, it would be a damn shame to see another career cut short. But also a warning to the young guys, that the high-risk style will take its toll on you eventually. I mean, just working the schedule they do at a minimal style will take its toll on you, much less doing extremely risky stuff. So, it's not a knock on anybody that wants to, it's your body. Do whatever you want, but it's going to give out on you sooner rather than later if you don't calculate those risks. So, any final thoughts on the wrestling news or anything you wanted to add?
Man, that what you just said about young guys, taking those bumps and stuff, Man, look at a Daniel Bryan, look at a Tyson Kidd. You work and you get to the point where you want to be, and then it's, the rug swept out from under you because of stuff like that. So it's definitely important to think about the future, whether you're just an independent wrestler or you work a couple times a week or you're doing it as a career. Either way, you want to think about that stuff, and you can learn to work styles where you don't have to take 50 bumps in a match, and the crowd still gets a hell of a match and a hell of a show.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving right along, we're going to get pissed off now. And this week was an easy week to do it. Quite a wild ride on the old social media, and it's certainly been the source of many an old man hater's rants. We're going to pull up our pants, get all crotchety, and we'll be back right after the intro here for Old Man Haters.
Old man, why do you hate everything new? Partly because I don't understand it, and partly because fuck you. It's time for Old Man Haters.
What's wrong with you?
It's either this show or indigestion. I hope it's indigestion.
Why?
It'll get better in a little while.
All right, it's Old Man Haters. I'm Dan with Andy, and this is time to bitch. My first topic this week. Actually, I want to take you a step back first and ask if you remember when I said at one point on this program, Facebook was a toilet. Do you remember that?
I remember.
Okay, well, this past week, if you thought it couldn't get any worse than a toilet, we found out it was raw, straight sewage on that motherfucker. Like, the internet just fucking exploded for a variety of reasons. We'll be about 2 weeks out from when this actually happened, probably by the time this airs. But, of course, the government announced that gay marriage had been, the constitutional ban on gay marriage had been lifted. And at the same time, there's a lot of controversy going on regarding the Confederate flag with the church shooting in South Carolina and the white supremacist motives of the killer. And, of course, because it's fucking social media, everybody, whether they are qualified to express it or not, has to share their fucking opinion. And so we've gotten, and this apparently has touched on the emotional buttons of practically fucking everybody. And so the timeline has been nothing but arguments for and against this, all of these things. It mind fucks me. Do you have anything you want to add to this before I just tear into a tirade?
Yeah. Man, I agree with you, man. It's been pretty annoying. It's funny that the gay marriage thing was, that's a big deal. Like, I know times have changed, and it's just very acceptable to be gay to most of the country. I mean, there's still people that make a big deal about it, but it's kind of an acceptable thing, and it's just kind of not a big deal anymore. But this is a pretty historic event, this happening, and it was completely, it definitely made news, and it was definitely on the news feed timeline and stuff, but it was definitely overshadowed by this stupid flag stuff again. And before you go on your rant, did you see the video that went viral of the demonstration
of your hometown of Dalton, Georgia?
Of my hometown where I grew up, of Dalton, Georgia. Now when people think Dalton, Georgia, they're going to be like, oh, isn't that where those guys were demonstrating the pride they have in the flag, and they wrecked, and it was like 3 cars slamming into each other? Oh, my God. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't understand why people can't have a civil disagreeing discourse on things. It's okay to respectfully disagree with people and have different opinions than other people, It's when you start acting like a fucking batshit insane, frothing at the mouth fucking lunatic that you become completely devaluable to society because you cannot make any headway with your fellow man. They're not going to respect your opinion because you're coming at them like a fucking stark raving madman. And you're not going to change their fucking mind because you're acting like a goddamn asshole. Like as far as the gay marriage thing goes, I normally don't like to spout any political opinions because when you're in entertainment or business, it can affect your bottom line. But I'm old and fuck it, I don't give a fuck. Like normally politically, I don't like to identify with any party because to me, like, groupthink is a dangerous thing, and there's things that, like, while I might lean heavily one way or the other, like there's still other parts of me that might fall more in line with the other side. So I think to me that's just like an absolutist attitude, and it's dangerous and not good to keeping an open mind. So I don't like to identify with any party, but generally I fall somewhere a little bit left of center politically. But, you know, like I said, some things are all over the place, so that's not a fair judgment. But I totally support the gay marriage thing. It's equal rights for humanity, in my opinion. And like, I'm sorry that all the religious people are so offended. Like, I really am. I hate that you think that this hurts your religion or something like that. But, like, when marriage is a legal contract as well as a religious thing, you have to be able to offer it to everybody. Like, 2 atheists can get married, and it's not a problem. 2 Buddhists can get married, and it's not a problem. 2 Muslims can get married, and it's not a problem. But 2 gays get married, and that's an issue. No, that's discrimination. And you can't do that. And so I'm happy to see that everybody has equal rights. Now, the Confederate flag issue, that's a whole other crazy thing because, first of all, to me, like, a symbol can mean a lot more than what it was originally intended to. This is not a black or white discussion, and I don't mean Caucasian and African American. It's a very gray discussion. I think there's parts of it that are black and white. I think, you know, okay, yeah, you definitely shouldn't fly the thing over the State House. Like clearly it was designed with racist intent, and that is bad. So, you know, you probably shouldn't endorse a flag that doesn't represent everybody that's underneath it from a government standpoint. But as far as, like, you know, a lot of people who are not racist at all have a lot of pride in the rebel flag. Like, parts of the metal community embrace it as more of a rebellious fuck you attitude. There's even groups of black people that have embraced it as a taking it back type of thing. So it's like, yeah, it started as a very bad thing, but people have used it for their own devices. I mean, you know, and I say that, and I've used it as a performer. You know, I think it's a cool fashion piece. Yeah, I loved the Freebirds wearing the rebel flag and Dimebag Darrell with a rebel flag guitar. None of that was racist in my mind. That was, you know, again, a fuck you to the establishment. But, you know, you see people are extremely offended by it, so people are trying to be sensitive about it, but then they're going so far the other way as to, like, banning the fucking Dukes of Hazzard and all this other shit, and it's like, I mean, you can't really, even if you totally disagree with it, you can't really tell people, like, what they can do with their own shit, you know, like from a government perspective, you certainly shouldn't endorse it, but so it's a thing that requires a great discussion back and forth between civil-minded individuals to really work out on both sides of the issue, and that ain't what the fuck is happening, in case you haven't noticed.
Man, that whole well, let me go in order there. The gay marriage thing, I'm all for it. I don't care. I mean, I don't follow politics, and I don't weigh in on stuff like that because, man, if it doesn't affect me, if you're not out there hurting people or murdering people or stealing from people or something like that, I don't give a fuck what anybody does. I mean, so what? A guy loves the gentle yet firm caress of another man, and they're just trying to fuck and make it honest. So they want to get married. Big deal. How does that affect anyone else outside of those 2 men or women? You know, I don't understand this whole, sure, if you're religious and you don't believe in it and you think it's a slight against God and you think it's wrong, that's cool. That's fine. But protesting and being all butthurt about it is just ridiculous to me. I mean, just don't worry about what, you know, let people go to hell. If you think they're going to go to hell because of it, let them go to hell. Let them burn for all eternity. And when you're in heaven. You can look down and be like, see, I told you we were right. Big deal. But the rebel flag, man, banning the Dukes of Hazzard, like, everybody has just people in general have just gotten way too sensitive. I mean, way too sensitive. Like, everything is offensive to everyone. You know, people always find something to complain and gripe about. And to take it this far, and when you, like, I mean, it's not the same, but America doesn't negotiate with terrorists because it just lets terrorists out there know that if you do this, you can get your way. But if people cry about a rebel flag, people will bend over backwards to try to make them not upset about it, banning the Dukes of Hazzard, just stupid shit like that. And I mean, when does it stop? What is going to happen that offends someone and they get banned, or someone gets fired, or someone's booted off TV, or, you know, I thought there was a certain amount of freedom of speech, and just having this symbol, you know, represented. If you're not doing racist rants, waving the flag around, it's probably not meant as a racist symbol. You know, I don't think it was on the Dukes of Hazzard, so, you know, what the hell's the deal?
Yeah, and like nobody ever accused Lemmy of being well, I mean, some people probably did, but I mean, people know Lemmy is not a fucking Nazi, but he has iron crosses and things on his, you know, his memorabilia and his album artwork and things for Motorhead. They've adopted it as part of their shtick, with it being separate from something that what it was originally intended to be. Now, like I said, you know, it's just a crazy fucking thing, and like it requires a civil discussion on both sides of the issue, and instead both sides of the issue are just going batshit fucking stark raving insane, and it annoys the fucking piss out of me.
Yeah, it does, and it makes just everybody look bad. It makes, you know, if you're fighting against it and you're parading around and having wrecks that are recorded and go viral, it makes the town and it makes you look bad. And if you're raising hell because of it, you know, to other people, it makes you look bad. Like, no one comes out of right or normal or, you know, like their opinion is the correct opinion to have. You know, everybody just comes out looking silly and kind of like a bitch in my book.
Yeah, so chill the fuck out, social media, and god damn it, like, I don't know that Facebook could go any lower. We're now to raw sewage. It was a toilet, now it's raw sewage. I shudder to think what the next level of scum is, but I'm sure something will be coming along. So, you know, hopefully, here as we record this, everyone has a happy 4th of July, and we remember that we are free to express our opinions and disagree with one another, but we're also one under this country, and we all live in this fucking place, and we all should treat each other with a goddamn modicum of fucking respect, as I often preach here on Old Man Haters. So, are you ready to tell us some about your sexcapades, Mr. Alexander?
I was born ready.
All right, well, without further ado.
In a world filled with sluts, whores, and women who make questionable choices, one man sets out to fuck them all. Will our hero fuck or fail?
It's that time once more where Andrew Alexander, the co-host of the Midnight Black Mass, tells us exactly what happened on another wild weekend romp. How's it going?
Man, it's going. Now, before I start this story, I've got to state, first off, I don't exactly feel comfortable stating where the events took place, but I will give multiple choices and let the audience imagination run wild. It was either at a bar, at a professional place of business, or at church. That's all I'm going to say. It was at one of those three places. Now, I'm at a gathering of people at one of those venues, and I see this girl.
Of the multitude?
Yeah, there were people there, and it was at one of those places, a church, a place of business, or a bar. Probably not a bar, because that wouldn't be bad to talk about. But anyway, I see this girl across the way, and I've seen her around, just around in passing before. I'm good with faces. I remember faces. But I've never spoke to her. Never said a word. Never said hi. Never said nice to meet you. Never said I'm Andy. Nothing. So I see her talking and chatting up with a girl that I know. Not know as in no, going to end up on this segment, no, but I just know of her. So a little bit later, I see that girl alone, and I go up to her, and I say, hey, how do you know that girl you was talking to? The blonde across the way. She says, oh, we're old friends. And I said, really? How well do you know her? Well, I mean, I know her pretty good. So I tell her, I think your friend likes to take it in the ass. And her jaw drops, and she's shocked that I would say this in our setting that I said this in. And she says, why do you think that girl takes it in the ass? And I said, no, she doesn't take it in the ass. She loves taking it in the ass. She loves it. She won't just do it. She yearns to do it. She needs it. She just has to have it. She says, why do you think that? And I said, she just has that look. It's a sixth sense I have. I can just tell. Now, the main reason I tell her this is because I know she'll tell her what I said. And, of course, like clockwork, probably within 15 to 20 minute time span, this girl approaches me, and she says, so why do you think that about me? And I look over at our mutual friend, and her eyes are looking at me, but when I lock eye contact with her, she darts away. So clearly she told her what I said, which I knew would happen, which is fine. That was part of the whole game plan. So she says, why do you think that? And I said, I don't know, it's just a hunch. She says, oh, interesting. And I said, so am I wrong? And she says, yeah, you're definitely wrong, for sure. And I said, nah, I don't think I am. She says, what do you mean? I just told you were. And I said, no, you're just saying that. I'm not wrong. And she's like, oh, whatever. She leaves. She's talking. She's mingling. Okay, so I decide to leave. I decide to get out of here finally. I go out to my car, and as I go, I pass her outside just on, accidentally. I figured, I'm not going to try too hard. Hopefully I can get another tale for the week on the podcast, but no big deal. Well, she comes up to me and she said, I just can't believe you said that and that you think that about me. You don't even know me. And I said, you're right, I don't. And I've been wrong before, but, it's just a hunch. And she says, well, I don't know. And I said, well, I got to go. You can text me if you want. We'll continue this discussion. So I give her my number and I'll leave. So I'm probably gone a minute and a half. I get a text message. And she says, seriously, how did you know that? I say, I don't know, but are you confirming that it's true? She says, well, I don't like to take it in the ass, ... The next text message, I, capital letters, love taking it in the ass. And at this point, I know Daddy's home. And I was like, of course you do. And she keeps texting me, and I'm like, so why do you like it? And I know the answer to this as well. Just a hunch I had. She says, oh, I don't know, it just feels good. And I was like, no, specifically, why do you love it so much? Finally, after a couple of these fishing for the answer, which I already knew, she says, because I squirt a lot and it gets me off quicker and makes me have huge orgasms. And I said, yes, I knew that too. And she's like, well, you sure do know a whole lot. How do you know so much? And I said, because I'm Andy. I mean, please, what kind of answer do you expect? So the night progresses, and not 1 hour after I leave the place, this chick is like sending me naked pictures and all this stuff, saying we should get together. And I'm just entertained by this because, 2 or 3 hours ago, I'd never even spoken to this chick, and my assumption has led to this. And I'm thinking, I should follow through just to have a good story to tell on the podcast, but it's kind of late, and this chick isn't she doesn't seem like she's going anywhere. It's not that great of a pull. So I tell her I have to get some sleep because I need my beauty rest. But I tell her we'll get together the next day if she wants to. So, of course, the next night comes and she wants to. So I go over to her place, and it's just with the greatest of ease. We start fucking, and she was right. She loves to take it in the ass. And the hilarious thing, she must be an old pro because I asked her, I was like, so do you need any lube? Assuming the answer is yes, because of course the answer is yes. She goes, no. And, Dan, you've heard the stories, I'm sure. Maybe our listeners don't know, but for a woman to be able to take me without lube, that's a pretty big gaper right there.
Well, allegedly, the stories are true. I don't have any frame of reference. We lived together, but thankfully, I never got a glimpse of what you were packing. But I'll take your fucking word for it because no one has disputed this claim. So there you go.
Yeah. So needless to say, I fucked. Now the good thing is this was pretty easy, and at least it led for a story, but. It wasn't anything that great or anything. Part of me, I think I probably just did it for this story and the fact that it was just so easy, but I'm supposed to go over for a little round 2, maybe possibly after we get done recording. I'll have to see, but so maybe next fuck or fail will be a layup. Maybe something interesting will happen at least. So we'll see. We'll have to see next week.
So what is it exactly for our listeners at home about a girl? Some people have the gaydar. You have an ass alarm where you can tell if a girl likes doing the brown eye shuffle. And so what is it that just gives off that vibe? Is it a pheromone? Is it something about the way they walk?
Man, I don't really know. I think it may be part of it. It may partly be because I'm just completely full of shit. Because sometimes I'm just way off when you see people and you make different judgments about them and things like that. Sometimes I'll meet girls and be like, oh, this girl's really calm and probably doesn't get too wild, and then you hook up with her and she's batshit crazy. So sometimes I'm wrong, but I just don't know what it was. This girl just had, just something about her that just made me think that. She didn't seem like she had an abundance of self-esteem, so that leads me to believe that she'd be open to do anything just to get, a man's attention or, something like that. Oh, and I do need to go back to when she said she was a squirter, I've had squirters before. This bitch was a fucking fire hydrant. No need to call the firehouse Kiss style. Just call on this bitch and she'll take care of the flame for you. It was insane. Luckily I'm a fan of that. I know some people. It was so much that if it would have been at my place, I may have been like, we need to chill that out because I got to fucking clean this shit up when you leave. Got to get her on the hardwood floor so you can break out the Swiffer wet jet or some shit because it was wild. Weird, wild stuff.
Well, the streak continues, folks. Our single man racks up another tale, if you will, here on the Midnight Black Mass, and fuck or fail again, he fucks this week in more than one hole. But,
all three.
Hey, all right. So, moving along on the program, Gonna go to a quick break here. Gonna be right back with the game show you all know and love. That's right, folks. It's promo or porno time on the Midnight Black Mass. Coming right back at you live.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry? Oh, shitbird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong-style psycho, Tank.
If you book a benefit show just to be in the main event, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the strong-style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
The Midnight Black Mass is pleased to announce we have become an affiliate of the World Wrestling Network at WWNLive.com, the home of the finest iPay-per-view and video on demand in all of professional wrestling, featuring promotions like Dragon Gate USA, Evolve, Combat Zone Wrestling, OVW, Shimmer, Shine, $5 Wrestling, and the vaunted Kayfabe commentaries with their You Shoot, their guest booker, and their timeline series. You have to check it out. Of course, you can always go to their main page at WWNLive.com, but if you will, do us a solid, go to Facebook.com/PottyHumor or follow me on Twitter at Dragons Rejects. We'll be posting our own unique links to these events as affiliates. If you go through our link, they give us a little kickback, and we greatly appreciate it.
Whether you're having an autograph session, personal appearance, or live event, we got just the person you need to contact for all of those needs. SBI Bookings is home of some of the best stars in the wrestling industry today. They provide you with the best talent this business has to offer, from Kevin Nash, Larry Zbyszko, Scott Steiner, and many, many more. So who will you contact next time you're planning an event? The men of SBI Bookings. Check them out at sbibookings.com.
Wrestling fans, Anarchy Wrestling television tapings are the second and fourth Saturdays of every month at 4236 Level Grove Road in Cornelia, Georgia. For more information on Anarchy Wrestling and on the shows, to watch the television product, and a whole lot more, go to anarchy-wrestling.net. That's Anarchy Wrestling, the second and fourth Saturdays of every month in Cornelia, Georgia.
Where can you find 24/7 pro wrestling, MMA, talk radio, and more? BeyondRingside.com, featuring 24/7 streaming audio, including the Midnight Black Mass, Sundays at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, except for pay-per-view weekends when they run a mini marathon and the Midnight Black Mass goes on as its namesake at midnight. But don't forget the other great shows like Beyond Ringside, Wrestle Rage, To Be Determined, and more. That's BeyondRingside.com.
Hey kids, get your official Midnight Black Mass merchandise just in time for Halloween at midnightblackmass.spreadshirt.com. Be the coolest ghoul on the block with your brand new Reject or Midnight Black Mass t-shirt. Get them exclusively online. Online exclusive, people. midnightblackmass.spreadshirt.com.
In this age of technology, appearance can make or break your franchise. Need to stand out in the crowd? ForceFX is proud to work with each and every customer to bring them exciting new designs to reinvent their brand. Satisfaction guaranteed. Custom innovative logos can leave a lasting impression and add just the professional touch needed for you or your business to truly thrive. Let us help you grow with your own custom logo, starting out at the incredibly low price of $25. ForceFX knows how to advertise. If you need flyers, business cards, web pages, promos, billboards, signs, or anything else designed differently and expertly, we can help. Send a message today with what you have in mind, and together we can create exactly what you need. The best designs, the best deals, designed differently. ForceFX. Find out more at Facebook.com/ForceFXDesigns or call 423-637-8784.
All right, we're back on the show. What time is it, you ask?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to America's favorite game show, Promo or Porno.
Welcome to America's favorite game show, Promo or Porno, where the object is to get it hard way any way you can get it. This is the Rev, Nate Wilson, alongside my co-host, Mr. Andrew Alexander.
I'm here.
He is. And our contestant is on the line now, the proprietor of one of the sponsors of the Midnight Black Mass, Mr. Will Force, the owner of Force FX Graphics. Will, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're out fucking standing, and we're ready to play a little game show here. There's a prize up. Hell yeah, you are. There's a prize up for grabs. You're going to be a little more excited when you hear exactly what that is. Why don't you tell them, Andrew?
Well, what we have this week is the 6-month gift certificate to Big Tits Like BigDicks.com. And like we asked our contestant last week, Will Force, do you like big tits?
Well, of course. Who doesn't, man? Who doesn't?
Well, more importantly, do you like big dicks?
I mean, I don't know about all that now. Come on.
I mean, if you're watching some big tits get fucked, do you want to see a small, flaccid penis, or do you want to see?
I guess if you got to watch a dick, it might as well be a big dick, right?
That is absolute. That's the answer we're looking for.
Well, for the fans at home that may not know how we play this game is we play an audio clip for our guests. There's 3 of them. If they get all 3 right in a row, then they win the grand prize. Now, they have to determine, is the audio clip from the world of professional wrestling or the world of pornography? Is it promo? Is it porno? Are you ready to play, Will?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Clip number 1, promo or porno?
What can I do for you? I am looking for 2 guys, big like this, and with the same costume, the boots, and the helmet like this. Did you see somebody like this?
Promo or porno?
Definitely a promo.
Was it a promo, judges? Again, the first question is a doozy. That's knocking people out of the park left and right. Tank got it wrong last week. The first question also said it was a promo. It was a porno. Tonight, same thing. Will Force, that was a porno, my friend.
Man, I just figured that's got to be from some shit show somewhere. Some guy doesn't even know how to work, probably in jeans, walks in, looking for a guy in boots and a guy for a helmet. I figured that's definitely, that sounds like an RCW promo to me. That's definitely some Chatsworth stuff.
Chatsworth, Georgia, the scenic city, the city of lights, they call it. The city that never sleeps.
Lord.
That's because they're all on meds.
That's because Wes Blaze is still up texting folks.
Gosh. Look that name up, man.
We'll give you, on the first one, of course, now you're disqualified, unfortunately, for the great gift certificate that we have that will go on to play next week. But we're not kicking you off the show. No, by no means.
I think
you have
somebody
the
else
chance.
is probably going to be more deserving of that. Somebody needs that more than I do in my life.
Fair enough. Well, you still have a chance to save face and gain moral redemption with 2 more questions. We're going to let you play through and see how you do compared to the other guys.
Time. Let's do it.
All right. So clip number 2. Is it promo? Is it porno?
I got off on something else. I got off on one thing, and now I got to get on something else. Now, anybody from the South knows what chicken's all about. This is a piece of bread. And
promo or porno?
That's a promo.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That was Dirty Dick Slater being interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund in a promo that only aired in Australia.
But I mean, Dick Slater, that's definitely a pornograph name. I mean,
Dirty Dick Slater. Yeah, absolutely. Dirty Dick, surprisingly, not a porno. You are correct. It is a promo. Moving along to the third and final audio clip. Promo or porno?
Her teeth, bitches can't suck a dick worth a damn.
Promo or porno?
That's a porno, my friend.
That is correct. So, as Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Certainly, you've tied the record of many of our guests here. Tank, it was a very strong performance, 2 out of 3. And we appreciate you coming on the show. What are your thoughts on being a guest on Promo or Porno?
Thanks for having me. I had a great time. Definitely a great game show. Really loved jumping in and hearing the end of Fuck or Fail there. Definitely going to have to check out those escapades.
So you can do it each and every week.
Every week. Can't wait to catch another episode of the Midnight Black Mass.
Hey, I'm going to end up getting syphilis for the listeners' entertainment here. You know, just for you, Will Force. But that's okay.
All right, well, tomorrow morning I'm going to go down to the local health department and get myself checked out just for listening to that eargasm.
That sounds like a good plan.
You guys take
Hell
it
yeah.
easy, man. Appreciate you having me.
You too, Will. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Force, the proprietor of Force FX Graphics. You want to give a quick plug on where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm definitely on Facebook. Check out Force FX. I'm all over everything. A lot of these listeners probably know the Empire page. I'm all over that. Give me a shout out on there. Anything you need, all your design needs, got it for the low price. Hit me up.
Awesome. And you can hear the Force FX.
Yeah, I'll add to that, like, you know, not being, I'm unbiased. You know, I call a spade, and these are as far as flyers and graphics for your wrestling event or anything, these are by far the best I've ever seen, you know, in all my years. And I'm sure he could branch out and do other graphics and designs other than just wrestling. But, yeah, it's definitely worth checking out just to see some of the stuff he puts together.
Yes, absolutely. Sponsor of the Midnight Black Mass here. You can hear the commercials during our commercial breaks. We run a commercial for Force FX. Need to check them out if you need the graphic work. Will, thanks again, man. We appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate it, bud. Y'all be good.
Have a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Will Force, Promo or Porno, another edition in the books. We still got that gift card. This is proving quite a challenge, this game is.
Only one winner so far, and that's the great Corey Cox.
Well, with a name like that, he should have won, and he did. Maybe you need to come on Promo or Porno so you can afford, you know, maybe an HIV test.
Maybe that'll be the grand prize. Yeah, man, I would be stumped on some of these. I mean, I listened to them, and I would have got some wrong before. So this game, it don't play around. I mean, if you're going to win, if you're going to see big tit on big dick action, you're gonna have to bring your A game.
That's a fact. And I mean, you know, some of these I've tried to make obvious and people still get them wrong. Like, I tried to make this game, honestly, as easy as possible. It's like, okay, well, maybe I've been a little hard on our contestants. Maybe I've just given them too much in the way of vagueness. And let's really, make this kind of obvious. And I thought these were all pretty obvious, but I guess they weren't because they continue to stump the contestants.
I think people expect there to be, trick questions where it sounds like it's obvious, so they go the other way, but in reality, it is obvious.
Yeah, there are. There's definitely trick questions. Like that the Zandig promo from last week. Like, if it hadn't been Tank, I don't know that anybody else would have got that.
Yeah, definitely. He was familiar with it. He had heard that promo before, but you dig up some deep cuts. A lot of promos that I've never heard or never even known to exist. So tough game.
Hell yeah. Well, promo porno's over. We're going to take a little break here. We'll be right back with Dear Andy as the lonely hearts, all you lonely hearts out there in internet land. That's right. You're going to get the love advice you need to turn your life around when we come back.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry? Oh, shitbird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong-style psycho, Tank.
If your name is Big Bank Barfield, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the strong-style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
We're back on the Midnight Black Mass. It's time to dig into that mailbox.
He's left dozens of women sexually unfulfilled. He's not on speaking terms with any of his ex-lovers. He will unquestionably die alone.
Dear Andy.
Welcome to Dear Andy, the time here on the show where you can write your deepest, darkest romantic confessions to our own Andrew Alexander, and he will respond to them. And Andy, what do you have this week in the mailbox?
Well, the mailbox is getting pretty full. The mailbox is definitely not deep and dark, but got a good one this week. It says, Dear Andy, I've recently become single after being in a committed relationship for quite a while. I'm 30 years old, and I have to say that I have not familiar with the dating scene anymore. Which, side note to that, I totally understand. It definitely gets tougher the older you get, which is just kind of weird, but it just kind of does. People looking for different things, so I already understand, this person's issue. But she says that she recently went on a date with a guy that she had known for a little while and been flirting with, and said they text a little bit and that they hung out on a Friday night and then hung out again on a Saturday night and ended up having sex. Now she gets the feeling that he's not interested in her and probably just wants to be friends. She goes on to write that she did know that he was leaving for the service. That's all it says. So I'm assuming Marines, Army, something. He's leaving for the service soon, so she didn't expect it to become anything real, but she wanted it to be a little bit more than just a one-time hookup. So she's looking for advice on what she should do about this guy if he just wants to be friends or whatever. First off, I don't understand why she admittedly says she knew he was leaving to go, I'm assuming, overseas, soon. What did she think would come of it? I mean, not hooking up once, maybe hooking up 2, 3, 4 times. I mean, obviously this guy's probably not looking for a relationship right before he deploys. So I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm not sure why. If she was just looking to hook up, that's cool. That's all good. She should write in that story, and we could share it on fucking Fuck or Fail, Tale of a Single Lady, maybe. But looking for an actual relationship just with this guy that isn't going to be there, and I hate to say it, but there's always a type of girl that you want to hook up with, and there's a type of girl that you want to maybe see if it can become more. And ladies, the way to become the second girl is not to put out the second time you ever hang out with a guy. I mean, it's like my grandma used to say, why buy the cow when you can get the sex for free? Why is a guy gonna, go out of his way to get to know you and to get to know the real you and take a real interest in you when he has sex with you, the second time you ever hang out? The sex would have to be pretty amazing, for the guy to want a little more to come from that. So I think maybe she just played this completely wrong. Maybe she thought that by having sex with him, that would lead to something more, which is still a mystery to what more would be since he's not going to be around. And not sure I don't really know what the middle ground is for, I didn't think it'd become something real, but I wanted it to be more than just a hook up one time. I only know of 3 kind of levels. You hook up once, you hook up a lot as a fuck buddy, or you're in a relationship or trying to date and get to know each other. Like, where's I don't know the in-betweens. Of course, that may be why I'm a single man talking on the podcast right now. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think it's an interesting situation for both of them because, like, from the dude's perspective, I don't think he's looking for anything long-term because he is about to leave for the service. Not to say he didn't maybe want some company beforehand. There could have been a lot of reasons he kind of went into the friend zone. Maybe he was getting feelings, and maybe he thought that that since he had to bail soon, that just wasn't a realistic possibility, so he didn't pursue it. For her, on her end, like you said, she just has to understand the reality of the situation. I think she was maybe looking for something that wasn't really viable in the first place. And, unless this guy is like the most amazing fucking dude you ever met and you're both head over heels in love with each other, that's really not something you want to pursue in terms of a guy going overseas and then having to try to do that long-distance relationship thing with barely any foundation underneath it. It's a different thing if you've been dating for years or been in a long-term relationship for years, and then one of you has to go away for a while. That's something you got to try to work through. But in a case like this, I don't see the upside for either one of them in pursuing the relationship. What was the name of the viewer or listener, rather?
Oh, she didn't sign.
Oh, unsigned. Well, dear unsigned, I think there's probably much more for you out there. I don't think that this was probably something that was going to go anywhere had you pursued it. So I think you're just saving yourself some precious moments of your life that you can spend on something else, and that's my opinion.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking, this is where it pays. And even though it can be an awkward situation, I find myself in these situations where I like to throw it out there before any of this happens, so there's no confusion, so there's no questions about this. Because after it happens, it's even more awkward to bring up. I think it's my opinion. If you meet someone and you don't know what it's going to become, or you're going away, or you don't want anything serious, I think you have that conversation up front. So no one's confused. No one, this girl has sex with you because she feels something or thinks you may feel something or wants to trick you into feeling something. So she has sex with you. And then when it turns out, well, I just kind of, I like hanging out with you. I just kind of want to be friends, though. And then she feels hurt and scorned because she put out and had sex with this guy, and now nothing's going to come of it. The guy didn't, and guys get a bad rap when they do that, but, the guy didn't do anything wrong. If I'm hanging out with a girl and I'm like, I don't see this going anywhere, I don't really like this girl, and before anything's brought up, she's like, bam, here's some pussy, I'm not going to say, well, wait 1 second. I just need to let you know that I don't see this going anywhere. Do you still want to fuck? Okay, cool, let's do it. Sometimes there's not that moment or that time to have that conversation. It sounds like if you only hung out twice, this is clearly one of those scenarios. So I think it is awkward, and I've done it before to where I've met someone and just been like, hey, I'm not into dating and going out and all of these things. We can hang out if you want to, but I just want you to know that up front. And sometimes that's a turn off, and sometimes women are taken aback, but sometimes they still just want to hang around and fuck, you know. And eventually they'll think that they can trick you and change you into having more with them if that's what they want. And when you don't, then they get mad. But, hey, I think if you can look at yourself in the mirror and you know that you didn't lie to a chick, you didn't, you know, use the typical lines, tell her you love her and all that stuff just to get her in her pants, then you know, you're doing okay, I think.
Yeah, and like I don't know what you got to feel bad about it either. Like, was the sex fucking was the sex fucking terrible? Were you hoping like that it was going to be better the next time, and that's why you wanted it to move forward? Otherwise, if you both had a good time and nobody's hurt feelings and everybody's moving on with their lives, you know, it's cool. That's like you're letting society place that stigma on what you got between your legs, and you shouldn't, because it's a wonderful thing, and you should embrace that and not like, oh, now it's like used up and dirty. No, did you have a good time? You had a good time? All right, cool, move on. You're not meant for each other. Go find somebody else you can have a lot of good times with.
Yeah, and I've got a, you know, if there's any ladies still listening and haven't been highly offended by now, I've had some, man, occasionally I've had some amazing pussy where I was just like, God dang, like the mountains are crumbling and the ocean's moving and the earth's shaking and all that shit, where it's like, man, this is some good shit. But I've never had any that made me think, oh, I don't like this girl. I don't want to see her in the light of day. I don't want to introduce her to my family, take her around my friends, or even think about marrying her. But since the ass was good, I think I'll jump in a relationship with her. That's never once even come remotely close to happening. So girls, if you think that the way to a man's heart literally is through his dick, that's not always the case. The way to a man's dick is through his dick. The way to a man's heart is not by just putting out the second time you hang out with him. Or the first in my case.
Well, I think we have another listener who got some quality advice tonight. I think, you know, if you take our advice, you move along, you'll be a happy person. And you know, don't waste your time on shit that ain't gonna work out, because life's too short, man. If it ain't working, fuck it, move on. Like, the older you get, the more you're gonna realize that too.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. No one was ever on their deathbed and said, "I wish I would have had less sex."
Nope.
Unless they're dying of AIDS.
I was gonna say. I mean, you know, there's probably a couple of exceptions to that I could name.
Okay, unless you're dying of AIDS or got rot crotch or something like that, then maybe you say it. But most people on their deathbed do not say, "I wish I'd have done less fucking."
Yeah, not an often uttered phrase, that's for damn sure. So, well, hell, man, that's going to wrap up another episode tonight. You got any closing thoughts or closing arguments?
No, man. I mean, I think we did a lot of good. We served the community. We threw out some plugs for Force FX. We got people their graphic needs covered. We talked about fucking in the ass and fucking Marines going overseas and trying to get in relationships with them. We covered wrestling. We covered it all. We pretty much we're growing into the best podcast on the internet. You know, I know there's only 3 or 4 to choose from, but we're right up there.
Clearly, I mean, clearly, like you got everything from the current events to what's going on in wrestling to indie wrestling stuff, and you got all of this great content here with Dear Andy and Fucker Fail and the promo or Porno. It's just been one hell of an entertaining night, as always, here on the Midnight Black Mass. But we thank you for joining us. We're out of time. This is the Rev, Dan Wilson for Andrew Alexander. Keep one foot in the gutter and one fist in the gold. We're out.
This has been a production of the Potty Humor Network. Find us online at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe to us weekly and never miss an episode by searching Potty Humor on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you for listening and good night.